Lord put in my heart how waiting is uncomfortable. How trusting in Him can be uncomfortable. And I know what it's like to be in a waiting season, because I have waited for God to have answered so many prayers in my life. And sometimes when we're waiting on God, the result isn't what we expect, right? And I say this because there was a moment when my mom was battling cancer, and I was waiting wholeheartedly for her healing. And she wasn't healed. She went on to be with the Lord. And I don't want to say she wasn't healed like that. I'm not saying God didn't heal her. God had another plan for her life. And her plan was to be with Him. And my mom was a devout Christian, and she loved the Lord. And I grew up in the church, but I wasn't like devoted. You hear the word, but you wasn't all in, right? But my mom was devout Christian. She loved the Lord. She lived her life wholeheartedly for Him. And when she went on to be with the Lord, that broke my heart, because she was given 6 months to live, but I was just trusting in God that He was going to heal her, because she loved Him so much. She was so faithful to Him. I know He's going to heal her, because she spent her whole life dedicated to serving Him and doing the will of God. And I just knew that He would heal her from cancer, and this will be one happy ending, and life will go on. And it didn't happen that way. And as oddly as that sound, I felt such a peace in my heart, although God didn't heal my mom. Last words to me was that faith, and you will see the will of God, and why this had to happen to me. I'm not trying to cry here. I'm just trying to share a word of God, But years later, it took me some time to actually see what she meant. And if I knew then what I knew now, I didn't know that I would be where I am right now, sharing the word of God with you guys. And I didn't know that I would be living a lifestyle trying to please God. And I didn't know that would be my story. I didn't know that this would be my story. I just knew that I had to trust God, even in that moment of my life. That was one of the worst things that ever happened to me in my life. Losing my mom at the age of 27. And I had to trust Him, because it didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make sense that someone that loved you so much, God, and she lived her life, she never was sick, a regular person. And I just couldn't understand at that moment in my life, like, why did that have to happen? Because it didn't make sense. Because I wanted to trust God, but it didn't make sense that He wasn't healing her when she trusted Him for healing and believed in Him for healing. All that to say is that even if you're waiting and you're trusting God for something, know that it may come differently, right? So if you're waiting on a promise from God and you have yet to see it, maybe it's because the promise is going to come in a different form. It's going to come differently this time. You may not get the child come back. You may not end up having the baby. You may not get the promotion at the job. You may not find that Mr. Boaz. You may not get the house. You may not get the car. You may not get all the whatever it is that God promised you in that way. I just want you to know that sometimes trusting in God, it just doesn't make sense. And sometimes the promise doesn't come in the way that God said it will come, or in the way that, or whatever way that God said. It might come in a different way. So don't give up. Know that you may not see the promise right now, and it may not be in the form of what you are expecting, but know that you will see his promise. Because after losing my mom, I did end up seeing what God meant in that process. And he saved me. So I know that when my mom left this earth to be with him, she had to go so that I can be saved. My God. Because I was too comfortable living under her blessings and what God had said about her. And I just thought I was covered. I'm good. My mom serves God. She'll pray for me. I'm good. She loves me. She'll cover me with her prayers. But my mom had to go so that I could live. And that took some time for me to understand and come to grasp that, wow, God, you took my mom to save me. Save me from my own destruction. And I thank him for that. And I thank him for allowing me to be here to share with you this moment. But I don't want you to be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. If you're still waiting on God, keep waiting. Keep trusting. Keep holding on. He has not forgotten about you. He loves you too much. He loves you too much. And I love you.